Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest Lunch and Learn, talking about our innovation with our Power Platform here. My name is Drew Vabulas. I am Vice President of Sales here at Argano for Microsoft. Really excited to introduce you to our team today and talk about some of the cool capabilities that we've done for the Power Platform and really show you the neat tools that we've built. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a fun session, really spending some time on some Q&As inside the chat, having a closed captioning for selecting the CC button in your bottom right corner, and then you can move each of the window panes to display your screen if needed. This is being recorded, so if any of the registrants aren't able to attend today, we are able to share this out so you can take a look at this session. So today you're gonna hear from me in the beginning, just talking about who we are as a whole from Argano, and then you're gonna talk to Khalid and to Ryan and really go over some of the cool tools that they've built for some of our clients and our customers. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time really going over who we are as a whole, because most of you are actually here to talk about the Power Platform itself and what we've done. And then we're gonna spend some time doing a Q&A session at the end of it. From a call to action standpoint, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to myself or anyone on this call. We can put our emails and contact information in the chat so that we can follow up after this and help you out with any of those questions or concerns you might have. First, what I'm going to do is kind of just talk about who we are as a whole. So we are Argano. We were US Partner of the Year last year for Dynamics 365. We're really focused on 5 industries, and you can see them highlighted in the middle here. We are about 330 plus resources deep. What this means is we are big enough to handle really any size customer, but we're also big enough to be nimble enough to make sure that we can handle any of your requests or concerns and really your projects on a very nimble standpoint, so that you don't feel like you have to go through those big engines in order to work with us. In the bottom, you're going to see some of the products that we've built. These products are ERP and CRM centric. We're a very data centric organization and moving data and making sure that you're making great decisions for your business while utilizing the data insights, because ultimately that's why you're using these products. As a whole, we do the Microsoft ecosystem, and what I have here up on the screen is really all the tools that the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem plays for. So if you see the third bar from the bottom, it's the Power Platform, and the 2 individuals that you're talking to today lead our Power Platform practice here at Argano. And what they're going to do is they're going to walk through some of the cool things that we've built for our customers and kind of show you how we actually utilize them on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully it can show you and empower you to be able to use these tools yourself. So again, if you have any questions, at the end, feel free to ask. If you have any questions that you want to reach out about, we'll put our contact information out there, but we're looking forward to really showing you the capabilities of our team. And with that, Khalid, I'm going to pass it over to you, man.
Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you for that quick introduction. So before we start with the introduction to a Power Platform, I just want to talk about a little bit about my experience and what we're really doing over here. I'm Khalid Muhammad. I'm Senior Director of Technology and Innovation at Argano. I lead the Power Platform practice over here, and I have experience. I have 18 plus years of experience in ERP, Microsoft ecosystem itself. So I have been one of the frontliner for Power Platform for past 4 years since we have the Power Platform kind of launched and the way it's going on. So with that being said, a quick introduction what Power Platform does. I'm pretty sure most of the team members or most of the individuals who are on the call are aware of the Power Platform in one or either way, in getting an introduction to Power Apps or Power Automate to improve their productivity or some or other purpose. But in a way, Power Platform is one of the most complete low-code platform which is available in Microsoft system. What it means is you can actually use this low-code platform to automate almost any process what you have in the organization. It can be a process, it can be an application, it can be a solution what you can create. So basically think of it this way, with low-code platform, you can build any business applications faster. you can take your applications to the next level. Like there are like times like where we are working with like developers like trying to create like advanced solutions. It might take like 6 months to like years of implementation. That can be done like really faster. Like in 3 to 6 months, you will be 3 months, like you'll be able to see like better results and like more optimal like product itself. So you're not in like a typical like web development lifecycle or like a software development lifecycle where you're kind of like where you cannot really visualize like a product till like the end of the life cycle itself. You can actually start like seeing things in action like much faster. It actually helps you to take your applications to do like more extensible activities. What it means is like one of the beauty of our apps is like you can actually extend it to like any other system within Microsoft ecosystem, and also like outside of Microsoft as well. So if you want to integrate something with the SAP, you can do that. If you want to integrate with like a Oracle database, you can do that. So there are like several aspects of like the local platform which is available, where you can try to think about like working across the data, and make sure like you have like best solution possible without having to think about like the boundaries of like each and every system what you're working with. And other aspects of Power Platform, right? Like you can actually start, like, you can also think about like scaling them as well. Like how you want, let's say if you have built a Power application for like one of your department, but you want to like expand it, like you can want the Power application to do like more than like that department activities. You can actually easily do that. You can scale it while maintaining like the governance and security and quality standards, like because like there are like several like rules and rules of engagement, right? Like there might be like a segregation of duty in your organization where you don't want like the sales team to see the data of like operations, or operations not see the data of sales. You can actually segregate that like by creating like a simple governance across the across your organization. So what this all means is like you're actually you're using like one single like one single platform to provide like unlimited innovation for your organization. Like by shifting to like low code applications, right, you have ability to like communicate better. You have ability to like share the applications. You have the ability to kind of like distribute them with click of buttons without having to like work with like a highly skilled like pro developers. So there are like several features which Power Platform brings to the table, where you have like the ability to like ability to like build or design like applications without having to go through the hassle of like huge development life cycle. Doesn't mean like we don't need one. It's just that like it optimizes the ability to develop and like produce like advanced applications itself. With that being said, right, like what does Power Platform does? So Power Platform, right, it all revolves around like, it like mostly revolves around like the data, because like think of it like almost every application what you're working with, or like any device what you're working with, like it's actually spitting out the data data, and with that data you have the ability to actually think about like how do you modernize your how do you modernize your workplace by empowering your employees, like making sure like you have the better engagement with your customers. You have the ability to like optimize like operations, and also like transform your products as well. Like that's like the whole goal of like a Power Platform, to work with your data and like enable you to like digitally transform your organization. The main fundamental over here is like, by doing the digital transformation, we are trying to move away from like a reactive to more proactive way. This is like one of the examples which was shared by like Microsoft individuals, and also like in several case studies as well. Past in days, we used to have like we were in like very reactive mode. Like think of it like in 1990s, we had, whenever like a production line was down, production line was down, like the service center individual actually logs the issue, then kind of like calls like the call center over, and reports to them saying, okay, production line is down, can you send some help? Then like an emergency field technician will like do a service visit for them, and then they solve the customer disruption. That was like the old school way. Now with the proactive mode, like as I was saying earlier, like every device or machine is actually spitting out the data. When it is spitting out the data with like help of IoT devices, or like any other like devices which any other means as well. When the data is getting out, like you are actually kind of like using like Power BI or like kind of any analytic tool to detect the anomaly, saying, okay, how is the a particular machine is performing, or like how is the production line is performing based on the anomaly which is kind of detected on the analytics. You have like the ability to like proactively send out like the maintenance visit, because you can actually predict that, okay, this machine is going to break down because it was probably running at like 5,000 RPM before. Now it is running at like 3,000 RPM, which is like less, right? So you have, as a supervisor, you have the ability to like kind of like notice that and also ask for a maintenance visit without even having to go through like the whole chaos of waiting for the production line to be down. So in this nature, like getting like the maintenance visit like in a proactive way, the customer is kind of like never disrupted. The production line is not going down. Your manufacturing is not stopping. Things are going to be like in more things are going to be like more efficient way. Like as soon as like your manufacturing line is not going down, it's like basically you are able to like transform your product itself, right? That is what like the whole goal of like Power Platform is, like to kind of like use the low code platform which is available, which spans around like Office 365, Azure, Dynamics 365, and also like any of your business applications. Business applications can exist in Excel, SharePoint, Oracle, SQL, anything, like any business application which is available. There are like several like connectors available in Power Platform world where they can communicate to those to data points and extract the data, and also like move the data around, like act on data as well, right? So now just coming to the Power Platform objects is, so like what is Power Platform? Power Platform is a service where we have like a multiple like tools in the toolkit here. One is like Power BI, which we can provide you the analytics on the data, like how you can analyze your data. Earlier I was talking about anomaly detection. That's the way to go, like where you can actually like start like analyzing your data and figure out like how the data is behaving, and kind of act on it. Next one is like the Power Apps, where you have the ability to act on data. Let's say if you want to like do an action on a particular data set, you'll be able to do that with Power Apps. So I'm trying to like put it in the layman terms, but it can do a lot, Power Apps itself. But trying to say that like what Power Apps can do is like can give you the ability to like kind of act on data. The third one is like the Power Automate, where you can actually automate the data or integrate the data between like one application to another application. Application can be anything. It can be like within Microsoft or outside of the Microsoft. As long as like we have ability to like kind of like have the credentials for that particular application, you can use Power Automate to automate your data. Just to emphasize on like Power Automate, there are like there might be certain systems in your organization, like a software as service provided organization in your software service like applications which are provided in your organization, where you might think like you don't have an API available, or you don't have like the internet integration connection available. There are like elements in Power Automate like robotic process automation, AI builder, which can actually can like start like reading it can actually open the application, read the data, scrape the data out of like the legacy application and move the data across. So there are abilities to like kind of reach your data in Power Automate. Power Automate is like, you might be only seeing like the simplified workflows, but it is actually robust. We have like more and more additional things which are available part of Power Automate. With that being said, like jumping into the next one, which is Power Virtual Agents. Power Virtual Agents are like, think of it like as a chatbot, what you can develop. It can be like you can create like a simple like application, like a knowledge base using a virtual agent, or even you can like build like a robust application, like where it can do like where you can act on your data as well. Like for example, if you want to create like a I'm not sure like how much you guys are familiar with the car insurance services. If you want to get like a car insurance, a virtual agent can actually do that, like where you can tell, okay, what kind of insurance you want, like what car model you're working with, or like what how much what is your deductibles are going to be, like are you going for comprehensive or like a personal damage. You can actually work with the virtual agent without having to talk to human interaction itself. I'm one of the person like who doesn't like to talk to humans, so it actually makes sense to work with the bot and get the work done, like without having to wait in a line or like talk to call centers. So Power Virtual Agents is a way. And to think of it this way, like to develop this, right, you don't really need a pro developer. You can actually start like working on like a citizen developer and start building this Power Virtual Agents. Microsoft has been heavily investing on it, and we have seen like successful results with Power Virtual Agents where we are able to like create like applications like CX Connect and whatnot, like to improve like the customer relationship management for in our organization, which we're implementing for others as well, which we'll soon definitely talk about it. But last but not least is Power Pages. In past, it used to be called like Power Apps portals. Now it's called as Power Pages. So far, like Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, they are like they are mostly used to display the data or like act on the data or automate the data or like provide intelligence data within the organization. But if you want to build something like for external audience where you want to display your data or where you want to like kind of like give them a portal or give them like a website to kind of showcase like showcase your department or like showcase like any kind of like need, right? Power Pages to go, which is more for like external audience where you can literally build like a website. Many of you on this call might have like gone through like the custom website building journey where you are trying to do a custom website building. Let's say I was a .NET developer when I started my career, just to build like a simple grid in an ASP.NET, like it used to take me like 16 hours. Now with Power Pages, I can do it in like 30 minutes because all we have to do is like we have to get our galleries in right place, use the right containers which are available, plug in the right data source, and you have the data like kind of showing on the Power Pages like in 30 minutes. And this is just an example. It doesn't mean like it depends upon like the robust functions what you want to do. And again, like if you want to like act on the Power Page, like act on the particular grid data, you have to like write like a button, then you have to write an event handler for it, and the event handler, then you have to write a class and whatnot in custom website for. Whereas in Power Pages, with a button you can actually call like in Power Automate with another low code function. So there are like a lot of abilities what you can do in like external website without having to like go through the a nuance of like pro development. Things can be done like developed and delivered in like rapid way. Now there will be questions saying like, okay, like we have all this application, like where is the data sitting? Data is actually sitting in the Dataverse, like on the left hand side corner. What you're seeing, like a little like little green sign, which looks like a little fan. That's Dataverse. That's where like your data is kind of residing on. Dataverse is like a cloud database application which can actually like act as a cloud database, but also it has the ability to kind of like get the data from like external systems as well. So there are like features like where you can actually create an entity, but like get the data from like a Oracle database or like a OData application. So there are like several features what Dataverse can provide, and it also has like ability to where you can actually create events on every record. Let's say if the record is getting updated or if the data is getting updated, you have like ability to kind of like trigger actions on it without writing like intrusive functions. So that's like one of the beauty of Dataverse, and there are like several other features as well in there. And next one is the data connectors. This is where like Microsoft has been like working with like multiple like vendors to build this data connectors out, where out of the box, like we have like several like data connectors available to connect to any data elements, like for example ServiceNow or ServiceNow, Encodian, quite a lot of them. Like even the DocuSign as well. Like even DocuSign, if you want to like capture your signatures on it, there are like data connectors available. And other beauty is like you can also build like custom connectors as well. Like as a pro developer, if you want to create a custom connector for your application, that's also possible. That's like that's another thing which is available in the data connector itself. And the last but not least, like the AI Builder. AI Builder actually provides like several services in it, like a lot of cognitive services around it. Like one is the OCR, form recognition, and other things. So for example, let's say if you want to do like a accounts payable automation where like a vendor sends you an invoice and you want the invoice to be automatically read and push it to your business application, AI Builder is way to go. AI Builder was started like a year back. It has advanced a lot now, where we are able to do more than what it was in past, where you have able to like not only scrape the data but also like use like NLP language to read the data as well. So there are things which are getting like more advanced in the AI Builder Zone. This is like the whole like introduction of like a Power Platform, but like very high level introduction, just to give an like idea like what Argano is, like what Argano means in the Power Platform world, right? We are like low code like application development certified by Microsoft. It takes like several like deployments to be done. It takes us like to just to get that like a low code certification itself. Like it takes us like a lot of emphasis. Lot of certifications to be done, certified individuals. It also means that like we have to be like a qualified delivery partner for like multiple areas of our platform. So what we have in the team is like we have been like highly recognized as like the advanced specialized individuals. We also for 2022 we also like received the delivery partners, and also for 2023 as well. So which will be like definitely updating like going forward. But like we are qualified delivery partners for like 2022 and 2023 both. With that being said, like what is our strength, right? Strength is always in numbers. So the way we are trying to, the way we have over here is like we have like quite a few Power Platform developers who are actually actively working on like developing things. We have like several like functional consultants who have like the maturity of understanding the Power Platform itself. We have like certified solution architects as well in our organization who have been like consistently delivering and delivering like Power Platform services for like enterprise level clients as well. With that being said, jumping out of the next section, where earlier since again I was telling you Power Platform is vast, we have like several areas. The way I was telling, now we are going to talk about like the little bit like more deep dive on like every application, every tool set what we have, like Power Pages, Power Apps, and Power Virtual Agents, and whatnot. Where like me and my partner over here, Ryan, would be like sharing like introducing you to the applications as well, but also kind of like deep dive into the case studies, like what we have successfully delivered, which can actually give you an idea like how to implement it, how to solutionize your systems as well. With that being said, like Ryan,
Thanks, Colin. So we're going to start off talking about Power Pages. So Power Pages is the newest pillar of the Power Platform. Microsoft Power Pages is a secure, enterprise-grade, low-code software-as-a-service platform for creating, hosting, and administering modern external-facing business websites. Power Pages is the evolution of Power Apps portals, and it's built on that same platform that's used by thousands of customers today. Power Pages currently uses the same licensing plans as the existing Power Apps portals, which makes it easy to start using it. Power Apps Pages adds new low-code, no-code capabilities to that Power Apps portals experience. So whether you're a low-code maker or a professional developer, Power Pages allows you to rapidly design, configure, and publish websites that seamlessly work across web browsers and devices. So with Power Pages, you can build sites by using those same shared business data that's stored in Dataverse that you're currently using for building apps, workflows, intelligent virtual agents, reports, and analytics with other Power Platform components in your organization. So that means that you can use Power Apps model-driven app constructs like forms, views, charts, dashboards to easily service that Dataverse data. You can use Power Automate for plugins, workflows, automated cloud flows, and to extend that business logic and interact with data and events coming and going in and out of Dataverse. We can integrate with Power BI to access components like reports and dashboards and tiles, and we can use the embedded capability to service data that sits outside of Dataverse. Power Virtual Agents enables teams to easily create and publish AI-driven chatbot experiences, and with Power Pages, you can add these chatbots to your external-facing websites for a myriad of business purposes. One of the most important concepts when you're thinking about building a system like this is security. So security is inbuilt to Power Pages core. It allows organizations to securely enable access to their business data to their users, whether they're internal or external, through Power Pages authorization rules. So organizations using Power Pages can choose from various authentication providers like Azure Active Directory, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Facebook, and others. It's hosted as an Azure App Service, which has ISO, SOC, PCI, DSS compliance. Power Pages supports modern TLS standards and has inbuilt Azure DDoS protection. You can also configure Power Pages to use edge caching and web application firewall capabilities. So you can be confident that anything you build is going to be secure. Organizations and IT admins can rest assured that their data and websites are secure. One of the biggest updates to Power Pages from Power Apps portals is the low-code experience. So it makes it easy for anyone to quickly build, style, and maintain a website through this new design studio. So the Power Pages Design Studio is this intuitive interface that enables these low-code makers to build and configure rich web applications. So you no longer need a professional web developer to create simple pages. The Design Studio has 4 experiences called workspaces, and each focuses on a specific user job. So there's a Pages workspace, which allows us to build and design these web pages with in-context editing and to add content with no-code, low-code widgets like text, images, Power BI reports, lists, forms, and everything else. The Styling workspace lets you apply global site styles. You can apply corporate branding updates and review the changes in the preview on the right side of the app window. Styling offers 13 preset themes, and for each theme, you can customize the color palette, background color, font styles, button styles, and section margins. So this allows you to have that unified experience. If you have a marketing department, it allows them to have that influence so that when you are creating your external website, everything is matching that corporate branding. The Data workspace lets you easily model, visualize, and manage business data for the site with tables, forms, and lists. So you can create and edit Dataverse tables for the site and create new or edit existing model-driven forms and views. All those changes that are made in that Data workspace are stored within Dataverse. The Setup workspace enables site administrators to configure site settings such as identity providers, security and permissions, go-live configurations, and progressive web app settings. So with Power Pages, you can build sites by using those same shared business data stored in Dataverse that you use for building apps, workflows, intelligent virtual agents, and analytics with other Power Platform components in your organization. So now we're going to talk through some of the success stories. So one of the first is our product registration portal, which I'm going to hand over to Khalid.
Thank you, Ryan. So as Ryan was mentioning, like the Power Pages, we have the ability to kind of like create like a custom websites without having to with like enterprise level like governance and security kind of available, right? So what we did for like one of the client, so this what we did was like we created something called a product registration portal. It's a simple use case. Like think of it like if you happen to like buy a coffee machine, and when you buy a coffee machine, you have to you register your product so you can start your warranty over. Right, it's a simple use case, like as what everyone in this like modernized digital world kind of faces it, right? Where you have like this you'll have a little postcard which you have to fill it over and send it to like send it to the team, send it to like the manufacturer so your warranty can be started, right? So that was like that was the process. Like we have been working with this like one of the biggest manufacturing organization based out of like California. They had to like actually work with this like postcards, like kind of like making sure like this warranty cards, kind of like filling them out, getting that. Filling them out and sending it across, and like they have like the whole operations team kind of like taking the notes of it and punching to ERP system and making sure like the warranty system is started. And it was like they were using literally like 6 individuals to do this activity, and to kind of 6 individuals to like do this activity for like one product, right? So think of it like for one single product, like it had to take like 6 individuals to kind of like do this activity where they have to like read through this like warranty cards and start like punching the data for ERP. for like multiple products, like what they have in the organization, it was taking like close to like $300,000 per month investment just to like have the human capital like work on this, like taking this data, scraping the data, or like taking the data from the warranty cards, like doing the data entry and starting the warranties and whatnot. So what we did was like with like Power Pages, we came up with like a simplified like registration portal where instead of like users actually going into like going into or sending the information across, they'll be given with like a serialized product number and like a little QR code. So when they scan the QR code on the product warranty card, what they get, it automatically like fills the data out, like whatever the order ID information which we already have. When the sale was done, it is automatically fill the information out and like open this like Power Pages for them, where they have this ability to kind of like look at the data, review the data, and click a button submit. When they click the button submit, like as a user, that data actually goes and like talks to like ERP directly without having to go through any manual approval process. So that like manual ability process. So we were able to like kind of like turn that around, like the $300,000 per like month investment into like we kind of like neutralized it, almost like close to like neutralized it. So the Power Pages, what we developed here is like not only like we gave them the ability to do like the product registration, like that was the first MVP what we created for this organization. When we did this, like when we did this, like there was like then additional requests came over. So okay, like now we are able to provide them like the better ability to kind of register their products. How about let's start like giving them ability to create the warranty orders as well. So we started like giving them like the ability to kind of create like cases around it. So okay, like if they want to like replace the product or like a renew, extend their warranty, or like additional aspects of like the whatever the warranty management involves, we gave them the ability to like start like building them into the product registration portal as well itself. So they started to where like the users are not only able to like kind of like record their warranties, but also like start like creating cases around it or create like the requests around it, which can which actually goes to like the operations team, and they actually can like either they can replace it or like repair it or like create repair orders or whatever is needed in the ERP world. But they like as a user, they don't have to worry about like what a request is going to be, but they have like a simple simplified like one-stop solution to go to. So all they have to remember is like their hash code, what they have, and they have all the information like they can like pursue. They can go into like they can go to this particular manufacturer's website, look up their like warranty statuses and whatnot. So from there, like we have been able to add like more and more features. Again, going back to like, the same terminology, like data is the king over here. We are trying to work with the data, since the data is already available, like from the order information to like the product like registration itself. So we are easily able to like have them provide them the portal to register it and kind of like go with the give them the ability to also like review their like warranty statuses as well. Not only that, like there are like several other solutions what we have created. This was another solution what we created, something called like Debbie request for one of like the parts manufacturer organization. The thought process what they have is like the difference between like the previous Power Apps portal versus like the Debbie portal is like in Debbie portal, like they want a electronic signature to be captured, because it's like for this is like more like in field service like records which were supposed to be created. Basically, like you have like a simple like request portal which was created for them, and as like when the request is created, like you actually are sending like a field service or like an installer individual to the client location. Once like the installation is complete, like you have to take like wet signatures or electronic signature over there. So what we did was like in this Power Pages, we actually integrated with like DocuSign, where we gave them the ability to actually capture the electronic signatures and send that information back to the users. So that way, like we have like a evidence kind of like establishing that this particular like installation was successfully done. So that was like the unique feature of like this particular Power Apps portal where we were able to like deliver it. The reason like why we kind of see it as a successful like case study over is like the ability of like working with like a portable document it has been a key, because it was a huge challenge in the past. Let's say if you have to work with if you are developing a custom web app, then you have to figure out how to create a pen container, or how to work with the color classes, right? To be able to to be able to draw a scene, to be able to draw a screen itself, so users can actually start capturing the wet signatures and whatnot. But with the ability to integrate with DocuSign, we were able to get this out of the door within 3 months. So it has been a huge success story, where you are not only able to display the data, but also kind of act on the data with the Power Pages as well. With that being said, the last experience what we have created is we use Power Apps portal to actually create a digital experience for our employees as well, where because every organization has this challenge. When you're working with a global organization just like us, we are globally located in multiple geographical regions, and also we have several employees as well, right? So when you have we have 2,000 plus employees, when you have this number of employees, and when you are globally located, every regional location has their different sets of policies for people, for the culture. They have they have different IT policies. They have different facility services which are available. So to be able to create a unified, the thought what we had was to create a unified interface for the organization, where as a employee you can actually see all your leaves, all your payroll requests, or any kind of activity what is related to your for your day-to-day activities. We have to create a simplified experience for it. So that's where we came up with this. That's where we kind of built something with a Power Apps portal in past. Now in Power Pages, what we did was we kind of created the simplest library for them, a knowledge base, using the Power Platform, where they can actually check on the system operating procedures for across their department, and also on other departments as well. They have the ability to see the information right from their business applications like HR, payroll, or let's say if you have a communication which you need to have with other departments, probably just for resourcing or any other needs. All those information were captured in this particular Power Pages what we created, and we were able to kind of streamline the business process as well. So that way everyone has one single experience. Doesn't matter which geographical location they belong to. So that's where the huge progress has been. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Ryan to talk about Power Apps for a few minutes.
All right. So when we're talking about Power Apps, there's two current experiences. So we have Canvas apps and we have model-driven apps. With the Canvas app, that is a pixel-perfect experience. So it gives you a drag-and-drop designer with what you see is what you get. So if you're looking to create the exact design, you can use a Canvas app to accomplish that. If you're looking to have more of a data-driven design, you can use model-driven apps to accomplish that. But between these two experiences, it allows you to rapidly create applications using this SaaS service. So Canvas apps can help business Power users to create and customize business apps across platforms using Excel and PowerPoint skills. So as I mentioned, that designer is drag and drop when you're working with a Canvas app. So it's very similar to the experience when you're working with PowerPoint. If you want to have a button, you're able to hit Add Button, and it will show up on the screen. Then when you're ready to apply business logic, there is an Excel-like formula language known as PowerFX, which allows us to apply logic. So what's great about Power Apps is with Canvas apps, you can use any data source. So Dataverse is that main data store within the Power Platform, but you don't necessarily have to use Dataverse. You can also connect directly to a SQL database or an ERP system or any other system where your data resides using the connectors that are in the box. We can also create apps and forms and workflows without writing that code. So as I mentioned, using PowerFX, we can use this expression language, Excel-like expression language, to add in that custom business logic. And these apps are also available now on any device. So by using Power Platform, you can access it via web browser, or you can download the Power Apps runtime on your phone and have it available in a mobile experience. So it's very flexible, it's very customizable, and it's very easy to get started. So as I mentioned with Canvas apps, the biggest benefit is how customizable this interface is. So it is truly a what you see is what you get. You have full control over that user experience, and you can use it as you build it. So as you're dragging these items onto your screen, as you're applying that expression language within each of the items, you can actually hit a preview button and view what you're creating as you're going. You can also mash up data sources from multiple sources right at the app level. So as I mentioned, there's a number of connectors that allow you to connect to these external systems. You can bring all that data within there into your Canvas app and work with it in whatever way you need. So whether that's reading from that data and bringing it together, or whether it's writing back to those data stores, you can create the exact user experience that you need. And so we have a number of case studies that will go over some of the ways that we can use Power Apps. So this first one is from a retailer, and they wanted to improve their customer experience within stores. So their sales team were working with a number of external systems that required them to leave that customer experience and have to go log into a manual computer. They wanted to have a more seamless experience, and so they decided to move forward with creating a Canvas app. So they had requirements where they needed to create a very specific UI to make sure that that salesperson had the data and the user experience to simplify that customer experience. So we were able to collect this data within the Power App and provide that in a way that allows that customer sales rep to walk the customer through that clienteling experience and make sure that they have access to things like inventory, they have access to the pricing information, different sales and promotion information as well. It allowed them to talk with systems like Shopify and an external ERP system as well. And so we're able to put right into that sales rep's hands the ability to look up customer information, product information, anything across all of their various systems. And it allowed them to create that seamless in-store customer experience. On the other end of that, as we're able to collect that data, we're actually able to also then create a manager experience. So as the users are using that system, as we're starting to collect that, we're able to provide all of that within a Power BI report and within a manager app for managers and operations to get exactly the insights they need, look at their KPIs, look at how their sales reps are performing, and improve that customer experience from the operations side as well. So another common use case is having a request form. So in this case, we had a client who was looking to bring in looking to create purchase requests. And so we needed to create a custom user experience so that they could access all of that data within their ERP system.
Yep. So, so just to add on to this, right? Like the purchase request form, like what we did over here was like there was a request which came up from like one of our like pharmaceutical customer, where they wanted to create like a ability, a workflow that can actually capture like multiple approvals before like a particular purchase requisition is even created in the ERP system. But they also wanted to like go to like a certain set of like department and location. So what they asked was like, can we create like a robust like workflow application itself without having to like customizing the ERP? Because one of the beauty with like Power Apps, right? They can integrate with any other ERP system as well. So what we did was like we kind of like we had to create this custom business logic. So we created this custom business logic in like the Power application itself, where we give them the ability to like kind of create like multiple requests on a purchase equation, because that's their business process. Like standard ERPs doesn't allow you to like have like multiple requests on it, right? So we kind of created like a unique solution using like power apps where we address their like challenge without having to like customize their current ERP system. So over here in this particular application, what we did was like not only give them the ability to kind of like create the purchase request, but also we gave them like the auditing capability as well. Because as you know, like as if when you're working with a pharmaceutical organization, it needs to be like SOX compliant and every procurement what you do, because you're working with like medicinal equipments here. We need to make sure like the procurement what has happened, it has went through like the right vendors, and there's a vendor like check validation which is going on. So there are like several attributes of like this particular process which were actually happening in Excel sheets in past. We kind of transformed that into like power apps itself, where you are able to kind of like capture the information, capture the approvals, capture the records, which can be presentable for the SOX compliance auditing as well. So that was like the main reason like why we ended up like doing the purchase request form, and that's like the another reason like why it's actually showing up as a success story for us. So this next screen, what you're like really looking at it, right? It is again like the same screen as like the clientele-ing app. If you the app what you're actually seeing on the screen right now, we use like the Power Apps to develop this. One of the feature like what we did was like when we are working with Power Apps, like many organizations kind of like look at it as if like there might be like design limitations, or like where you might be thinking like you might not be able to create like a Uber experience app. So the whole thought process what we were able to like kind of like displaying over here is all driven like we using like PCF components and using like the UI UX capabilities which are available within the Power Apps. We were able to actually create like a digitally enhanced Power App application for like a large like retail manufacturer. And like the screen what you're seeing is it was all done through like Power Apps itself. So these are like all the other animations around the same thing. With that being said, like the next application, this is also like something related to the contract request approval. So the one difference between like the previous application and this application, right? So one of the feature what they were really looking is like when they wanted like a wizard based like application to be created, saying like there will be like bunch of questions which will be asked for like the contract requesters, where they'll go through like a series of like a wizard like zone. So with Power Apps we were able to create that. For example, like on this particular screen what you're seeing, they would be able to click on like a contract type, saying that like the agreement to like add in a temporary staff. When they click on it, they will open up like another portal for them, like where they can actually put the request in, saying like what kind of staff they're really looking for. Is it like for like a is it something for like manufacturing department, or is it for like a science department, or is it for like a laboratory? They can add those information in there while they're actually filling out this data. On the right hand side of the screen, that's like an PDF generator. It automatically like captures the information and also showcases them like what their documentation is going to look like. Because like one of the thing this organization needed was like they wanted to have like a PDF documented created out like on the parallel when like users are actually filling out the digital information, because this contract is actually submitted like for like a FDA validation. So we have to like have this like PDF like formats we kind of created on the created as well. So that's where like our organization went in and kind of build like a think of it like a picture-in-picture application over here, where you have like a side-by-side applications, like two going on, where you are able to like also give them like the natural like PDF which is going to be generated, because like once they kind of like complete the form itself, it is supposed to be like automatically printing it for them, so they can take that like document and actually submit it for like FDA validation itself. With that being said, like I think I'm going to hand it over to like Ryan for the next one.
Thanks, Colin. So as I mentioned, there's two experiences that we can currently use in Power Apps. So we just talked about Canvas apps, which is that what you see is what you get designer. The other experience is model-driven apps. And so this is where we are starting with our data. So model-driven apps are all about Dataverse. With model-driven apps, you're starting with your data in mind. So you model that data out. You think about how you need it to be shaped. You can think about relationships and those business processes around that data. Then you can create your forms and your views and then expose that as your model-driven app. So with a model-driven app, there's less concern and thought process around the UI, UX. It's going to be generated for you by the system based on the data and based on what you expose and how you configure those forms and views and relationships in the shape of that data. So as I said, it's a metadata-driven architecture for creating and customizing apps without writing code. So it is a component-focused, no-code design environment where you can easily add business rules and business process flows to model your business processes, and allows you to create complex responsive apps on web and mobile. So one of the great things about model-driven apps is you're able to produce them very quickly. So as soon as you've thought about the shape of your data and how your users are going to interact with it, you can immediately start thinking about views and forms. So you can think about the different ways that we want to have that as in a grid, and we can think about how we want it to be entered into the system. We then can create business process flows, which is a designer that brings you step by step through your business process and ensures that that data is entered in a consistent manner. We can create business rules so that different things occur when different items are updated, so that if you have processes that need to occur or different validation or different things that are automated, that can all be accomplished without using any code. So they're a very powerful experience, and it's not necessarily an either or, Canvas apps or model-driven apps. Oftentimes you can use both together. There's many ways that you can embed the experiences in one another. So you can bring a Canvas app as an embedded component within a model-driven app to give you that custom UI, UX within this model-driven experience. You can also oftentimes create different experiences for your end users. So depending on your audience, you might need to have a Canvas app for that clienteling experience. And then on the other end, maybe the manager has more of a data-driven view. And so it's very easy to create different versions of the application and different views and different subsets of that data to make sure that the users who are using your application are only seeing exactly what they need and only have access to the data that they need. And so as I mentioned, it's a component-focused approach to application development. So as we're creating our apps, we're thinking about forms and views. We're thinking about the table that that data lives in, and we're thinking about the business process itself. So we're able to design sophisticated table forms quickly using this drag and drop interface. So as we're creating our forms, we can choose where on the form those different fields are living. We can make them read-only. We can lock them down. We can control that form to look as how we want it to. As you can see on the screen, we're looking at a form here. You can see a business process flow across the top. That business process flow is what guides our user through your business process so that they're entering data in the way that meets your requirements, to give you that extra step of kind of creating guardrails around that experience of that form. So forms can span multiple columns, multiple steps. We can have data shown from related tables onto a form. So if any user needs to look at something as they're entering data, we can create that experience. And we can create different sections with that as well. So if you need to have a multi-page form, we can definitely make that happen within a model-driven app. So it creates this rich and responsive client experience. The UI is responsive automatically and will reflow across devices based on the space available. So whether you're viewing it on a tablet or a big screen, 32-inch monitor, or a little monitor, whether you're shrinking it down, all of that's automatically built in just from out of the box. So this enables you to easily reuse components across multiple apps as well. So one of the coolest things is because it's all data-driven, it allows us to create forms and views and then use them in different apps. So if we have different user experiences or we have different end users, we can create exactly the experience that they need. And then we can also reuse those components across. So if we have a view that we want everyone to have access to in different apps, we can expose that. If we want to have the same form available to everyone in different applications, we can do that as well. And so some of our case studies. So as you can see at the top, this is what the model-driven experience looks like. We are able to control the sitemap on the left-hand side so that we're only exposing the data that we want to that user so that they have that customized experience. We can see a business process flow on the top, which lets us create those guardrails so that the user is entering that data. And we can create exactly the form that they need. So one of the challenges with this client was they needed to have vendors and customers to be updated in their ERP system, and they needed to have an approval process around that. So this is something where we needed to have a lot of validation around the data that was being entered and changed and modified, and we needed to make sure that it was approved and done so in a secure manner. So we built a model-driven app to capture and drive those business requirements and logic. And we use Power Automate to then create the notifications and status changes of those requests. So this allowed us to capture all of those requests, capture the process of the approval process, and then capture the result so that we have that documented in the application and in that data. So once an item has been approved and it's gone through this validation process, we're then able to then write and update that data within their ERP system, which in this case was D365 Finance and Operations. So this allowed them to have no manual data entry within D365. It allowed them to keep their vendors and customers in a consistent manner and keep that data clean across both systems and have a detailed log with auditing for any changes that were made to that system. This allowed them to process their new and existing customers and keep all that required business logic in one place. It also improved their communication across the onboarding and modification of vendors and customers. So now that we've discussed Power Apps and we've discussed Power Portals, we're going to talk about Power Virtual Agents. So sometimes a visual experience is the right thing to do. And other times, customers may not want to interact with a form, or maybe there's information that's better collected or better interacted with through a chatbot experience. Power Virtual Agents lets us create this experience. So right now, there is a huge conversational bot opportunity. So customers want that personalized and fast experience interacting with their favorite information, their favorite brands. They're looking for a way to interact with data in a non-user interface in a way that's a little bit more natural. So with Power Virtual Agents, we're able to create an experience utilizing natural language processing so that customers can use the words that they're familiar with and get exactly the information that they need out of your system. So as businesses grow, the number of daily operations and processes continue to multiply across these different channels. The number of interactions can be difficult to scale, both internally and with customers. And growing enterprises face a number of challenges when they're scaling these communications. Customer expectations are changing with a greater emphasis on fast, personalized customer service. And as a response to these changing expectations, there's been a strong adoption of AI-powered chatbots across every industry. It's estimated to be a $15.7 billion market by 2024. However, these companies are realizing that they face an AI skills gap as they work to incorporate chatbots into their customer service offerings. And so they're looking for low-code solutions to meet the surging demand. So some of these challenges that organizations are facing to achieve this operational efficiency, that increase productivity, and create those strong customer experiences, some of these challenges are conveying consistent messaging, the growing number of communication channels, expectations for fast response time fulfilling requests, the shortage of technical skills, and the time, resources, and budget constraints required to create these experiences. Power Virtual Agents can help customers to address these challenges as they work to achieve their goals through intelligent chatbots. So some of the things that we can do are routing customer and employees to standardize documentation answers. We can integrate Power Virtual Agents across all communication channels to meet your customers and your employees wherever they are. Power Virtual Agents can answer common customer and employee inquiries quickly and at scale. And we can even send those unanswered questions to a live virtual agent. Any user can create chatbots with this simple low-code interface of Power Virtual Agents. And Power Virtual Agents is a low-code SaaS offering, so there's no need to manage complex infrastructure or application lifecycle management. It's all built in Power Platform. So as I said, Power Virtual Agents is a no-code SaaS offering that's optimized for business experts in your organization to build on the Power Platform. It's also built on Microsoft App Framework. What that means is that you can expand and personalize your chatbot using Power Platform tools like Power Automate, or you can even leverage the advanced capabilities of the bot framework skills. Bot skills are reusable conversational dialogues that can be used to author scenarios using complex capabilities. Bot authors can convert any bot into a skill and seamlessly trigger actions embedded in it through the Power Virtual Agents no-code designer. You benefit from a no-cliffs experience. If you want to go beyond what you can do with Power Platform, you can extend limitlessly with the bot framework skills. So as with any application, you can choose between PaaS, platform as a service, or SaaS approaches when creating bot solutions. And with Microsoft Power Virtual Agents, you can choose PaaS, SaaS, or both. The no-clipped experience means that you can create that code-first extension with bot framework, or if you're a business user, you may not need to. You can build a lot of it in Power Virtual Agents. So Power Virtual Agents, the focus is really around usability, productivity, extensibility, and scalability. And the usability aspect, it's extremely simple to use the designer to create these dialogues. It uses natural language processing already built in. So as you're creating these different topics and skills, you're able to have it naturally understand what the user is saying. So you don't necessarily have to build it one for what the user is saying. There's contextual understanding with Power Virtual Agents built in. Productivity, you can bring data from a bunch of different systems together. You can make it really simple for one person to ask a question and get exactly the response they need, customized to your business and your requirements. It's extensible, so you can put it in different places. It can be hosted within a Power Pages. It can be available within Microsoft Teams or another first-party Microsoft service, and it's scalable. So it's built on Power Platform and Azure, so there's no worries about it scaling out as your usage increases. So one of the use cases that we had was with Kiko. So Kiko is a business desk assistant. So the challenge is we have a business desk that's the central point of coordination and communication between different sales teams, delivery teams, project management, and finance teams. And so they were often tasked with manually producing on-demand information from a variety of different systems. So across ERP, across Azure DevOps, across other enterprise systems that we're using, they needed a way to bring all that information together and to do that weaving together so that it's in a context that the end user is requesting. So our solution to that was leveraging Power Virtual Agents to connect with these different systems, to extract answers, and bring all that data together to then show our employees. This allowed faster response times for all these employee inquiries. It also gave the business desk extra time to focus on their most important tasks, which is moving those contracts from sales to delivery. The social impact is it improved communication and coordination between all these different teams and reduced information bottlenecks. No longer are you waiting for an individual to answer a question, rather it's self-service. You can go find exactly what you need and get all that information directly there. So now we are going to be talking about the Center of Excellence.
Thank you, Ryan. So we have been talking about like Power Pages, Power Virtual Agents, Power Apps, like the basic, the things what we have, what some of the tools what we can use to implement like Power Platform or kind of create like robust solutions itself, right? But when you're working with like an enterprise level organization or within your or like any size of organization, right? You want the ability to kind of like monitor, govern, and secure your application. You would like, even though like you have this data coming from like different aspects of uh, your organization, but you want like the data to be secure and whatnot. So Microsoft has been like heavily pushing about the center of excellence as well, kind of like create like a center of excellence where you have ability to kind of like create an adoption journey for your organization, kind of like, because like with your uh, ge- like our platform is like a whole service. It has like bunch of tools in it, but you want them to give them an ability to kind of use this tools appropriately, right? You want to like establish some guidelines saying, okay, when to use a Power App versus when to not use a Power App, or when to when to focus on like a Power Automation versus like a custom code and whatnot, right? So you want to like have like a journey kind of created. So that's where like the center of excellence kind of comes in. The thought again over here is like to kind of like give the improve like or increase like growth in your organization, but also have like proper administrative policies established as well. So what your the center of excellence is like, not just like, it's not just about creating the guardrails, but also kind of like bringing the innovation together, because there are like several with this like tool set what we have available. Every part of your department might be like working on like Power Platform objects, kind of like exploring like how to build an application, because like with Office 365 licenses, like almost everyone has access to like building a Power App, right? Or like even like building like a simple like Power Automate flow. So but you want to make sure like your data is not kind of like exposed like outside of your organization. You want to like put like guardrails on it. That's where like the center of excellence comes in, where it actually gives you an idea, like it gives you an insights on like how is the Microsoft Power Platform like adoption is going on. Like it also gives you the ability to kind of like create an audit and compliance rules. And also at the end of the day, it actually gives an ability to kind of like nurture your own organization as well. Like kind of like how do you want to accelerate your adoption? Like how there are like several like Power Platform community makers like who have been like consistently working on delivering like uh, different types of application. You'll be like kind of like working like, you'll be like understanding the concept from them, kind of like use them to actually develop or deliver for your own organization itself, right? So that's where like the whole center of excellence comes in. So what does it mean, right? Like the idea is like, whenever you're talking about center of excellence, like just to get to the center of excellence, it's not just about providing the insights, but also kind of like forming like the whole journey itself, where you have the ability kind of like to envision like what your center of excellence is going to look like. Because some organization might have like multiple departments. You might figure out like a champion in each and every department, and kind of like want to create like a small community around it, kind of like build like a plan, like how you want to like communicate like whatever like things these champions are building, and you want to figure out like how you want to scale it, like how do you want to like track their success, right? So it's kind of like the whole journey what you have to go from like right from envisioning to like onboarding your onboarding your champions to kind of like tracking the success as well. So Argano, like we have been like doing this like adoption. We have been helping like several organizations with this adoption planning, like where we kind of like help you kind of like build a team, kind of understand like, okay, what different team members like you have in your organization who can be like champions for us. So we can actually create like a multidisciplinary team over here of like executives, sponsors, like technical talent, like whatever the core stakeholders you have. Work with them, kind of build like a strategy and scenario, saying like there might be a simpler the strategy might be like as simple as saying like, okay, I need to like reduce my resource costs, or like software assets costs, or it can be like a robust, like saying like I want to have like a proper like development like life cycle defined, right? So those are the strategies and like scenarios which will be working with like the team what will be assembling to define them. Once we have defined them, like we'll be working on like the readiness of them, like okay, what is your current structure look like, what is like as is situation, so we can actually plan like the how is like the to-do is going to look like, right? So when we assess the current situation, then we assess, after we assess the current situation, we build a plan, and after we build a plan, we onboard the employees on that particular plan, saying like how we are going to execute it. This is kind of like the whole like adoption journey process where you work with like multiple organizations to like help them onboard them on like the center of excellence itself, and help them like create like the center of excellence, like what where they can actually start like administrating their like power platform applications itself. uh, with that being said, right, like okay, so far like what we have done, so like we have like one of the client actually reached out to us like with the simplest challenge itself, because talking about like we have been talking about like talking about like the strategy and scenario, right? The strategy and scenario which they came up with was like they were like two challenges which this particular organization came up with, saying like they have like unmanageable number of environments created. They have like told us like they are getting like data auditing failures, like they're like for example, like sales commissions was exposed to like operations team member, and it was like not really good sign for their organization. So they were like kind of reaching out, like they reached out like saying, okay, like this data auditing is like we are failing on like data auditing, and also like we have this like numerous number of environments. So that's where like me and my team actually sat down and kind of like built talk to them about like the center of excellence, where we kind of sat down with their like champions, saying okay, what are like power platform objects we have developed across there, like what are the applications we have, like what are the solutions which we have created, like which are causing like causing us for like creating the unmanageable number of environments. So where we sat down and where we understood that like there are certain like uh, IT policies which actually give them ability to create like all the teams environments across their organization. Like every time they are creating a teams, they were also creating like a power app as well, because that was like the protocol what they have created. So we kind of like figured it out. Okay, that's a challenge. Like that's what it's kind of creating a number of environments for you. So once we kind of like put like a lid on like the team's environment, right? Then we kind of had a conversation with them, saying, okay, like how about like developing like application lifecycle management, because they have applications or solutions based on like different like line of businesses, and based on the different line of businesses, we kind of suggested like how to like segregate them, because like they need even though this is like a low code platform, we need to still have like the administration policies where we are doing the development on the development environments, and then moving into like the test environments, then into like the production itself. uh, Things have been automated. It's not like it takes like a couple of days to move the data, or like in olden days, but it's more like it's like all automated, like, but you still have to have these boundaries. That way you can actually deliver enterprise level applications itself, right? You do not want a situation like where like code in your production is kind of like constantly changing. So this application lifecycle management actually helps us to have like a uniform code across like multiple environments. It also gives us the ability to kind of like create like version controlling aspects. It also gives us the ability to kind of create like naming convention, kind of like do all the pro developer documentation for you, which makes sure that like you do not have like any data audit failures, or like you're not in a situation where everyone is working on like a different environment. By doing this like three different solutions, where we kind of created like the center of excellence for them, and also created a training plan for them, saying like how they need to be educating their other team members, and also creating like the ALM guidelines for them. We were able to like reduce the number of environments. We were able to establish the governance. We were able to improve the current development life cycle, and also kind of tell them like what to do and what not to do, because that has been like a huge challenge in like power platform world, like how to do and what not to do. And like that's the main takeaway for them, like where we were able to create like a simple guideline saying like what not to do. What was the social impact for this, right? Like there was a within the organization, we were able to like set up like the development standards, kind of show them like, yeah, these are like the guardrails, like you, for a development environment, this is where you go. For like if you have to like create a new environment, like this is like the this is where you kind of like submit a request for it, and it goes through the goes through the creation of the application and like the other aspects of it. So that's how like we were able to kind of like proceed further, and we kind of like we were able to like actually like establish a center of excellence for this organization itself. They have been like other like use cases as well. Their individuals have reached out saying like, okay, like we need like a constant development cycle kind of created, because they are like we have been working with an organization who have been like working with like sea of Excels. Like most of the business processes are like sitting in Excel sheet, and they wanted to like kind of like see how they can like digitally transform them without having to like uh, without having to create like nimble applications. They wanted to like transform the like sea of Excel into like a multiple applications, but not 70 again, right? So or like a huge sea full of applications. So what we did was like we kind of like sat down with them. We did like the data modeling for them, because Argano actually not only does like the Power Platform, but we, as earlier like Drew was mentioning, like we are like robust. We have like technology specialists like who are like well versed like across the Microsoft ecosystem itself, right from like the data engineering to right from the data engineering to like creating the productivity suits. So we kind of like sat down, we kind of built like several like applications, like we kind of created like a robust one single application where we were able to create like a unified experience for the organization itself. So that was like a huge success. And while doing that, we were able to establish the center of excellence where we were able to provide them the right insights, not just the insights on like how many number of applications they have, but the insights what they're really looking for. Like what is the like, are there any requests for approvals? Like are there any kind of developer like code check-ins? Like what is the code check-in happening? Like who is kind of like doing the code changes, and rest of the other good things like as a development like a manager or like a IT architect, you might want to like look at it. So with that being said, like I will open up the floor for like questions, then we'll go into like the call to action itself. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, like feel free to like ask away those questions in the chat window. We'll try to address like one after another.